Hello everyone, my name is Cherie and I'm here today to do a book haul, kind of a story time book haul for you guys. Now some of these books I pre-ordered in September and some others I ended up getting off of thrift books. And I do have a couple that I've had and I almost forgot that I had, but I'm excited that I found them after reorganizing my shelves, and I haven't hauled them yet on this channel, so I figured I might as well haul those books with the other books. So the first book I have is a pretty hefty one, and that is City on Fire by Garfris Kullberg. I remember hearing about this book, I believe it was last year, summer maybe, and I remember people talking about it on Twitter because the author got like a $2 million advance for it, and it's also over 900 pages, so I've been pretty intrigued by this book ever since I heard about it. I believe it is a mystery set in the 1970s in New York, and I believe it has something to do with these teenagers and a reporter and this police officer trying to figure out what they have to do with the shooting that happened on New Year's Eve in Central Park. I am very excited to read this. I hope to read it sometime in November, and it will probably jump ahead of some other books I had planned on reading, but I've been waiting for this book for a while, so I'm definitely going to read it soon. It is a chunk of a book, over 900 pages, so it might take me a little bit to read it. The next book I have is Wolf by Ryan Growden. So I read The Walled City by her earlier this year and I really enjoyed it. I really liked that book. So when I found out another book by her was being released, I had to pre-order it. This is a young adult novel and it's set in the 1950s, and history has pretty much changed. I believe it's like what if Japan and Germany had won. On the back it says, once upon a different time there was a girl who lived in a kingdom of death. And I believe what is happening in this book is there is a motorcycle race across continents, and the winner gets like a dinner, I believe, with Hitler. Well, our main character ends up entering this race because she wants to win it, and then at the end she wants to kill Hitler. This is another one I hope to read soon, and I definitely hope to enjoy it as much as I enjoyed The Walled City. The next book I have is The Diviners by Libba Bray. Now this is a different cover for this book than I have seen, but I will tell you a little story behind me owning this copy and why it's in this book haul. So there is this bookstore in my city called the Book Loft, and I love it so much. It is a great bookstore. There are rooms and rooms and rooms of books, and it's great. So at this bookstore, they have books that are marked down. So I ended up buying this book there for like $4, and I'm not gonna lie, when I saw it, I was a little confused because I've never seen this cover before. But then I looked on the back and it is a UK edition. And the reason that is in this haul is because this is one of the books that I almost forgot that I actually own. So I've had piles and piles of books on the floor because I did not have room for them on this bookshelf. Well, one day I was sitting watching TV, most likely football, and my printer ended up catching my eye. And then I looked at what my printer was sitting on, and I thought to myself, I never ever use that printer, so why don't I use that as a bookshelf? So now I have a bunch of books, not on my floor, but on a little shelf. And as I was reorganizing my shelves, I ended up finding The Diviners. Now this would have been a great book to read in October, but October's almost over and I'm currently reading like a couple books right now. So I'm just gonna have to wait, and I'll probably end up reading this maybe in January or something, but I'm really happy that I found it. And the next book I have is another book I found while I was reorganizing it, and that is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, possibly. I don't know, I'm sorry. I had ordered this book off of thrift books about a few months ago, and this is another one that I'm glad that I found it while I was reorganizing. I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and this one also has a cover that I've never seen before. The next book I have is another pre-order, and that is First and Then by Emma Mills. This is a young adult contemporary, and I don't read young adult contemporaries that much, but when I do, I usually like them. I read Rainbow Rowell's Eleanor Park and Fangirl, and I like them both. And I also read the Stephanie Perkins companion trilogy, and I like the first two. So this young adult contemporary was written by a YouTuber. Her channel is Elmify, and I believe I heard about this book on Samantha's channel, Thoughts on Tomes. It seems like it'll be a quick read, and there's football in it. The next book, actually the next 4 books I have, there's actually another short story for it. Now I was sitting here watching the Emmys, and this mini-series kept winning whenever it came up for something. So I pretty much wondered if it was a book, and if it was, I needed to own it so I can see what all the fuss was about. And it was a book, and I found it on thrift books, and that book is Olive Kitteridge by Elizabeth Strout. Now, I don't know what this book is about. I think it's taken place in the past sometime. I'm not sure. I just know that the miniseries was winning like every single award it was up for. and I wanted to see if it was a book so that I could figure out what all the fuss was about. Being on thrift books, you can't really just get one book. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. So I went ahead and started looking for other books that I might want. And another one I found is Speak by Lori Hollis Anderson. Now, a couple months ago, I did the monthly recommendations for books set in school, and the one I did it for was another Lori Hollis Anderson book. And someone in the comments said that Speak was really good as well. So when I saw it on Thrift Books, I had to get it. This is a young adult novel, and the story of this girl, I believe she experiences a sexual assault and then she stops speaking. The book sounds really, really interesting, and it sounds like it covers issues that people should read about. So I'm glad I picked it up. The next one I got is The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society by Mary Ann Schaffers and Annie Burroughs. I've heard of this book, and I believe I've even picked it up a few times in years past while I was at the bookstore, but I always put it down. I don't really know what it's about, but I know the title, I've heard of it, so I figured just put it in my cart and get it. And the last book I bought is Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. Now, I don't know too much about what this book is about. I looked at the back. It's set in the 1960s in Detroit, and that's about all that I know. And that's pretty much all I really want to know before I dive into it sometime. So that was my storytime book haul. Let me know if you guys have purchased any books recently, or if you borrowed any books from the library. And let me know if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned, or if you plan on reading any of them. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye! This was a pretty big fall release. And the last book I bought is Middlesex by Jeffrey.